Hi, my name's Shane. I use they, them pronouns, and this is session 4 of Impossible Landscapes, the Delta Green campaign. This series was organised as part of the Open Hearth gaming calendar. If you'd like to find out more about Open Hearth or come play a game with us, you should check out openhearthgaming.com. Or I think Open Hearth has an account on just about every post-Twitter platform that there is at this point. So I'm going to turn it over now to my players to introduce themselves and their characters. If you could tell us your name and pronouns and anything you want to share about yourself, and also the same for your character. So Blake, can I get you to go first this week?
Sure. G'day, I'm Blake Ryan, he, him, playing Felix Strassman, a scientist/physicist nerdy type from MIT, trying to make the world a better place, ?
Uh-huh. All right, thank you. Puckett.
Hey there, I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am rereading Sixth Gun by Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt because it's
so
just
good.
right.
It's fantastic.
Well, and I've got Harrow County to finish to the omnibuses for after that. So anyway, shout out of the week. My character is Sarah Bradford, who uses she, her pronouns. She is an art forger from a well-respected Boston family who is the blackest of black sheep and lives to piss her parents off while also making money off of gullible art collectors who kind of found her way into this because strange paintings seem to pop up from time to time in the Delta Green world. And, well, she knows about a thing or two about that.
Excellent, thank you. Brandon.
Hi, I'm Brandon. He. My character is Tara Reinhardt. She, who is a firefighter paramedic, who saw someone burn to ash before her eyes when trying to rescue them from a fire, and was recruited by Delta Green not long after that. Probably when she started to talk about it. And she's motivated to. I'm not sure about save the world. More like sort of save individuals, save someone, do something. Rather than nothing.
Thank you. And Mark.
Hello, I'm Mark. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them, and I am playing Yelena Anisimov, whose pronouns are she, her, a former KGB employed anthropologist who was studying otherworldly civilizations for the Soviet government, who defected to the West, not because she doesn't like communism or socialism, only that she didn't believe the Soviet government was truly going in the right direction with it. So it's still somewhat, and not somewhat, is completely anti-capitalist, but currently living in the US. And, that's a little source of tension there.
Cool, thank you. So to recap what's been happening, or what you've learned so far, a New York poet named Abigail Wright lived in the McAllister, a building that had been designed by a genius architect and suspected serial killer who, according to his diary, committed his murders on instructions from someone named Baal, who was acting on behalf of a king. Baal is also the name of a demon mentioned in the Lesser Key of Solomon, a widely distributed occult text that seems connected to the events at the McAllister somehow. Sometime early in 1995, Abigail introduced her neighbours, who are all artists themselves, to a TV show called The Night Floors, broadcast irregularly late at night and not on a regular television station. The Night Floors is set in a medieval chateau, but otherwise shows uncanny parallels to the present. And somehow the influence of the program changed the building, opening up at night to strange other spaces, including a pool hall and a vast hotel. Signs were found of other people who'd been sleeping in the building over the past few months, and one of the residents was menaced by a group of 3 women. Abigail's apartment itself had been turned into some bizarre combination of art installation and shrine and crime scene before she vanished several months ago. By night, the residents of the McAllister all say that Abigail moved upstairs with an encyclopedia salesman and aspire to follow her. But by day, none of them seem to remember this. You've been assigned by Delta Green to determine whether an unnatural influence is responsible for Abigail's disappearance, and you now know that it was. So the remaining part of your assignment is to stop or destroy that unnatural influence. And as we finished, Yelena and Sarah had just spent their afternoon at the library. Tara was out for a walk and was about to get her cards read. And Blake, you had to leave a little early last time, so I just wanted to start by checking in. Is there anything in particular that you wanted for Felix to do in the afternoon? Do you just want to rest and recover a bit? Do you want me to come back to you? What do you think?
I think maybe because he took quite a lot of photographs, and I think he's just going to try and arrange them in different patterns and see if something clicks. Say, maybe in a cold or a science roll or something.
Yeah, I think. Do we have a skill? So I think that's
or would it just be luck?
Oh, I think that's probably something like alertness, to perceive a pattern or to notice something that you hadn't previously.
Where's the bloody dice room? I know I forgot something.
All right, I'll come back to you and get you to roll a little later.
All right.
So Tara, you're standing in front of this sort of stocky woman, all dressed all in black, and she's agreed to read your cards, and she starts to shuffle her deck. Oops, sorry, I thought this would be a good visual aid, but now I'm just dropping the cards everywhere. So she shuffles the cards. She passes the deck to you. She asks you to cut them into 3 piles and to rearrange the 3 piles in whatever order calls out to you. And while you're handling them, she sort of stops you from taking them until she's finished her explanation. While you're cutting the cards, I want you to think about whatever it is that you want to know, whatever problem is troubling you. Let that infuse the cards. And she hands the deck to you. Do you cut the cards?
Yeah, I do. And I think about how to cut the link between where, this world and that one.
Okay. So she takes the cards back from you. She lays 3 cards out on the little table in front of her. She says, and she sort of points to the cards one at a time. She says, the spread is going to be the past, the present, and the future. The influences that have brought you here, what it is that you face now, and what you can expect to come. And she turns over the first card and holds it up for you to see. And it's the Fool. So you see this sort of happy dancing figure smiling on a rocky outcrop against a yellow background.
Yes, about to step off the cliff.
Well, but she smiles broadly. She says, this is a very auspicious card to find in the place of the past. It's a very promising card for beginnings. If you imagine the cards themselves as a kind of landscape, when we pick up the cards, we enter a world of magicians, of people hanging upside down, of ancient rulers and symbols. And we know that only a fool would enter such a dangerous and unpredictable world. Because for the fool, all things are possible, and no difference exists between possibility and reality. So this is a card of courage and optimism, and it tells us that whatever it is that you have begun, you're on the right path. You have the tools that it will take to see it through. Are you ready for your next card? This one will signify the present and what it is that you face now.
Go ahead, please.
So she turns over the next card and holds it up for you. And this time it's the tower, the burning tower with figures leaping from it. And she sort of suppresses a little gasp as she sees it. Starts to speak slowly. I'm sorry, I have to be honest. The tower shows a period of violent upheaval of the destruction of our assumptions about the world, the breakdown of relationships and identities. It is a sad and painful path, but I mean, perhaps you understand this because I sense that you're an artist of some kind, an actor preparing for an important role,
No one's ever called me that, but I've certainly run into more artists recently.
interesting. I sense that you are about to complete a great work. I'm sorry that there is so much pain around you, but the good news is that it will not last. Shall we turn the final card and see what your future has in store?
Yes, I think so.
So she turns over the final card, and this time she doesn't even suppress the gasp because it's the tower again. And she starts to apologize. And she says, this is not possible. The cards must be mixed. I'm sorry." She's sort of picking up the cards. She's like looking at them. She's shuffling them back together. But also she started to like collect her things and back away from you. She's packing up her little table. She's, like almost down an alleyway already as she sort of mutters and yells apologies towards you.
Oh, she was that quick? Okay.
I mean, not so quick that you can't stop her or say something.
What are you afraid of?
It's hard to hear what she says over the traffic noise.
Well, I take her wrist if necessary.
Okay. So you come after her. So she's like pulling away. You're only going to be able to hold her for a few moments, unless you really want to like get into a fight about this. But she'll say, what'll she say? Something about the cards. I sense that I will read them again for you soon. And then I will be able to answer all your questions, but not now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. It means that there will be a soon.
She sort of looks down, and one of the tower cards has like fallen to the ground, and she looks down at it and she says, "Yes, you have a future."
All right.
All right. And then she sort of scurries away. And you get your mobile rings. And actually, all of you, wherever you are, you're going to get the same mobile call. And whether you answer it or let it go to message bank, it's a short recorded message that says your tickets for the opera are ready for collection at 6 p.m., which is the prearranged signal to meet back up with your handler at Washington Square Park at 6 p.m. Blake, you were looking at your photographs.
Alertness. Yep, alertness.
I mean, if you have a different skill that you think is relevant here, if you want to focus more on like occult stuff, you can do that. But I think alertness probably makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look for some sort of random pattern. So, percentage, and bam, 44. So over it.
So 44 is a crit. So if the numbers match, it's a crit, and a crit that hits is a critical success. So I think you do find some useful things in amongst your photos. What will you find? Sorry. So one thing you find is a sheet of a very close-up photograph, so close enough that you can make out like the letterhead of a place called the Hotel Broad Albion. It doesn't have an address on it, but there's some sort of scrawled map on the paper that seems to show There's a room labelled as a basement. There's a series of paths that lead off it. And one room is labelled JL Bottle. The other thing that you notice that stands out to you, I mean, especially as a scientist, so it's not so much that you're like noticing patterns in what's displayed, but you're picking out particular things that, maybe it's worth going back and looking at or collecting and things like that.
Yeah.
The other thing you find is a set of mechanical diagrams. These have been drawn on, it looks like they've been drawn onto like, what do Americans call them? Napkins from some sort of restaurant or diner. But the diagrams themselves are very elaborate. You can only see the top one, but your photo shows you that there's at least one more like stuck underneath it.
Yeah.
It's labeled LEAO, and it shows some sort of machine, but you can't really determine easily what it does or what it's for.
Okay.
And you also get the call. I think I said everyone gets the call that you get to meet with your handler. And Sarah and Elena, so, we already know what you found at the library. Not long after you leave, you probably get the call to go to Washington Square Park. What do you talk about? Well, I assume that you'll head to Washington Square Park. You can tell me if that's wrong, but what do you talk about?
What do you think, Mark? What do you think we're talking about?
Well, gosh, that doesn't start. My brain is blanking. Brief reminder of what we learned again.
Yeah, so you found the diary of Asa Darabondi, the architect / serial killer. And some of the things that you found out are that he was carrying out these murders on instructions by telephone from someone named Bale, that he had possession of a disturbing book, and that when he tried to get rid of it, a book called The King in Yellow was delivered to him. And also that he knew someone in a hotel named Rourke, and you yourself met a person named Rourke in the pool hall last night.
Right, and I believe that I told Sarah about this as well.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. So I'm curious, like, does Sarah have increased suspicions of Yelena because of this? Or how does Sarah feel about that?
I think I'll grab your arm and drag you into the nearest coffee shop, get a couple of cups of coffee to go, and when we step outside onto the sidewalk, I'll pour some liquid out of a flask into mine and offer it to you. So I find this helps with complicated mental gymnastics.
I'll take a sip. I'll be like, wait, what did you pour in my drink?
Just whiskey.
Ah.
Whiskey goes better with coffee. I mean, vodka is what I would put in almost anything else, but with coffee, yeah.
Be like, agreed. I don't know what the fuck is going on and why people in these places seem to know me.
There's a lot of coincidences around all of this. I mean, people in these places seem to know you. I grew up in one of this asshole's buildings, and it all seems like we're part of the night floors somehow, even if they're just talking about us. I don't like any of this. What is it they say? Once is a coincidence, twice is suspect, 3 times is a pattern, something like that. There's a growing pattern here of us being connected to this before we ever knew what this was.
I wonder, I mean, we don't know if the episodes that we saw of the night floors showed these things prior to us actually having done these things.
So what you're saying is that you don't know if the night floors predicted or prescribed it, whether we did it because it was on the night floors or whether the night floors is just reflecting things that we did.
Exactly. Because so far what we've seen has not necessarily occurred in the future. It's been showing us what is presently happening.
I'm going to take a drink straight out of the flask and offer it.
I will also take a drink straight out the flask.
I realize this may sound weird, but I want to go back up to Boston. And I want you to meet my parents because, you're a counselor. And it's not that I want you to fix anything. It's not like I get the feeling they know my dad at least knows more than he's telling me. And you're pretty good at telling when people are lying.
Like, well, I had to if I was gonna escape out of the Iron Curtain, but I mean, a trip to anywhere seemingly normal might be worthwhile.
Well, hold up, because remember that weird hospital that we've heard about is also in Boston.
Right.
So I wouldn't go so far as to say anything normal, because we're basically going there to check out this weird ass hospital and to say, hey, Dad, why didn't you tell me that I grew up in a building designed by a serial murderer that appears to violate laws of physics? So, if that's what you consider normal, and I'll just offer the flask again, it's like you probably need a little more of this.
I'll take a swig and just be like, well, I'm no stranger to difficult parental relationships, but if there's anything you want me to do specifically to mess with your parents, just let me know.
The answer to that would be absolutely anything you can do to mess with my parents.
All right, I'll lay the accent on thick.
Off to the park.
To the park.
So, is there anything that anyone wants to do before they meet with Agent Marsha?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a guy, the first time we were in a park, there was a guy in a velvet suit, and we also saw in one of Thomas's paintings. Can I hire a suit like that? And I mean, just like that.
I mean, you're not going to be able to hire an identical suit, but it was just a sort of cheap velvet tuxedo. You'd be able to find one, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to wear one of them.
I mean, he was also wearing a paper mache mask, which I think is probably harder to come up with.
I'll just go with the suit for now.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything that you want to do before you get to the park? Tara? You're muted, Brandon.
There's something that occurs to me that somebody else should do, but I'm not good at it, so I'll save it.
Okay. All right. So Agent Marsha again gathers the four of you in the park and says, "Thank you all for coming. I am not here to debrief you. I just want to understand. I had hoped that the operation would be resolved by now. Why is the operation continuing?"
So the McAllister, Abigail Wright has disappeared into another place that doesn't exist in this place in the same three-dimensionality. The McAllister at night connects to it in ways that are hard to understand. And indeed, the denizens of the McAllister mostly know about this and fervently desire to get to those other places, but do not know how to do it.
All right. Well, that's excellent news. You have determined that an unnatural influence was involved in Wright's disappearance. That completes the first part of your assignment. All that remains is for you to stop or destroy that influence.
You see, Tara, I told you we could burn it down.
It's not, this isn't the only place.
Listen, your job is not to solve the world's problems. You are a paramedic. You don't need to cure the patient. You need to patch things well enough for someone else to do what's necessary. Is that clear to you all?
We need to confirm if other places can be reached or not.
That is not your assignment.
Destroying the McAllister might prevent other people from using the exact same way into this place that Abigail Wright found. But even if we were going to do that, we don't have a good means of doing it. And there are people who live there.
And just to point something out, Tara's right. So's Felix. We have found records that suggest there are other points of entry in Boston and Chicago.
At least.
Once your assignment is complete, you will be debriefed and the program will determine whether further action is required.
I'm not burning a building down.
Tara.
I'm not. I'm a firefighter. Burn the building down yourself.
I'm not telling you to burn anything, but I didn't hire you for your skill in preventing fires.
I know that. But you hired me. And we're trying to find a way that doesn't involve destruction of this building.
Well, that's...
Because among other things, I think Delta Green will need that information to deal with the other instances of that. It'd be a pretty poor debrief if we said the only way to deal with this is to blow a building up, founded from the foundations.
She smiles a little as that. You get the impression she's probably heard that report from many of her field teams. She says, look, I'm not telling you to burn anything, destroy anything. The less destructive the outcome, the better.
Right.
But I want this operation, I want you on your way home in 48 hours. 24 hours would make me happier. Are we clear?
What's the hurry? I mean, we need to figure out how we can... We don't even know how we can stop this from happening. We don't know what to do with the building to stop this from happening. 24 hours, 48 hours, arbitrary time frames are not... And I'm looking at Tara as I say this.
Yeah, what's the tearing hurry?
You all have lives to get back to. You have fake credentials that will only hold up for so long. The police and FBI are being held away from their investigations so that you can do what needs to be done. None of these things will last indefinitely.
Look, if you can keep them off our backs, the residents of this place, this building, they just want to get to the ninth floor. They don't give a shit about us or our credentials. They barely notice us. They're like junkies looking for their next fix. And I got to tell you, it ain't on this reality plane of existence. I don't even know how to describe it. It ain't here.
She turns to Felix and she says, Felix, do you understand what I've told you?
Yes.
I say this with no disrespect to any of you. All of you are here because you have important skills and qualities. But Felix, you are the adult in the room here. You understand that I want all of you on your way home within 48 hours, and that the sooner this is resolved, the better.
And if we cannot
Understood.
resolve it in 48 hours, then we report to you and go home. Is that it?
You don't need to report to me again. You just need to get home.
Yep. Understood.
All right.
So regardless of whether we resolve this or not, then.
I'm telling you to resolve it within the time that's available. That's the assignment.
I'm just shaking my head.
You know,
Well, we better get to it then. And
yeah, build a pontoon bridge across the East River with a hammer and nail and a bunch of boxes while we're away.
Cardboard boxes. Yeah. That'll work.
Do what you need to do. I know the job's not easy, but this is the job.
well, we best get to it then.
All right. She says goodbye and disappears into the crowd.
I'll lean into Felix.
The
whisper,
fuck?
You weren't the adult last night. And like kind of smack him on the butt. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll say, look, it was obvious pretty clearly she didn't want to hear what we had to
Reality?
say. She's under some sort of pressure to get us out of the way because maybe this investigation is attracting attention.
Mr. Trausman, I raised my hand. Can I ask a question?
Of course you can. I don't know why she was addressing me as an adult in the room. But obviously, for some reason, she wants us to finish. Let's go somewhere else and discuss this and spitball some ideas. Tara, go for it. What do you have to say?
This is fucking impossible.
I don't.
Why did it seem like she told you something she didn't tell us?
She said, hey, yeah, this problem that nobody understands and nobody has a good solution to, you need to solve it in 48 hours. That's like, okay, guys, we need to, we don't have any leads, but we need to arrest this murderer in 48 hours. The hell?
I understand what you mean, but I didn't get what the secret message is because, I'm not a bomber with a violent history or nothing. I'm not going to blow up the building. So,
I can call my chemical guy.
Yeah, you can blow up the building, but I can't.
He can probably send us enough stuff and a recipe to get it done, but
it's it's not a good solution. It's not. We don't even know if it's a solution.
And for all we know, the next
Tara,
day
a fire was bad enough. A fire was bad enough. Blowing the building up is going to be a hell of a lot more noticeable and a hell of a lot harder to explain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hear me out.
I wanted to ask you guys to look something up at the library, and I forgot about it until today. Which is to look up that to see if that Craig person was a real person, or to Craig, not Craig. Sorry.
Yelena, what were you going to say?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, what if we figure out how to get to the 6th floor or whatever? We can wrap this all up. Everybody who wants to get there, we get there. And then however we close it up, we close it up. That way, no loose ends. Nobody else knows about this shit besides us. They all get what they want. And then we're done.
So you're suggesting that we do something that the residents of this building have been trying to do for quite some time, apparently, and somehow managed to pull it off in 2 nights.
Yep.
We may have an option for that. I believe that the painter Thomas thought he was like the next chosen one. Is there something we can do to help him paint? Sarah, this would be your department.
He wants to paint the edges of the painting. He wants the canvas blank. He just wants to capture what's at the periphery, like the stuff that's barely able to be seen. It's actually kind of an interesting idea in terms of art, but I get the feeling that there's a hell of a lot more to it for him than just painting what's at the corner of human apprehension.
If we figure out how, maybe if we figure out how Abigail did it, because apparently she did.
Good luck with that. Look, I think we just have to, to go back in and see what we see.
Into the ninth floor you're talking about?
Yeah, to the fourth
great.
floor at least.
Right.
Because there's more there. I had a kind of. I wish I had more to go on. All I know is that we've got a future, and it's going to be just as fucked up as it is now.
I mean, we can't figure out how to close the door until we find the door.
I had a very distressed person read my tarot today.
Were they distressed before, during, or after?
Afterwards, after they drew a second tower from a deck that only had one.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. They were super disturbed.
And
Okay,
you sure
hang
this
on.
wasn't some kind of carny bullshit?
I've never had a carny flee from me in panic.
Well, you wouldn't know about panic. You've seen enough of it in fires and other
Oh,
emergency situations.
They weren't, kind of, wide-eyed terrified, but they really wanted to leave. And it wasn't because they ripped me off, because, they gave me a tarot reading. I gave them money, they gave me a reading. It was all Jake. And there wasn't a cop around to about to arrest them for illegal fortune telling, if that's still a thing. Is that a thing?
I highly doubt it.
There used to be a lot of
was.
laws on the books about fortune telling. Once upon a time.
Okay, so we know that rude guy with the books in his room, he has at night, you can walk in there and get the night floors, right? We know that, we've been there. Everything else is leads, which we can either tell Delta Green about or not, and act on them or not. But the one thing we know is that guy's room, so we need to deal with the door in that guy's room.
Well, and then there's also the fourth floor.
But nobody else seems to be able to get to it.
No, not the sixth floor. The fourth floor, where the pool hall is.
But didn't we get to that through that guy's extendable library thing?
Nope, we went up the stairs.
We went up the stairs.
And where there should have been a roof, there was a pool hall.
So there's like 2 gates, 2 doors, whatever you want to call them.
At least.
Right. Yeah, we know there may be others in other hospitals or whatever, but we know for a fact there's 2 because we've been through them.
Yeah.
Right. So we can deal with them in some way. Tell Delta Green, look, we've done that, and whether we follow the other leads or not is up to us later.
They say that the night manager's room can be reached from the pool hall. If we could get in there and open up his box, maybe that would answer something.
I mean, is it symbolic? Could we just replace the doors, like physically unhinge the doors to those rooms and put a different door in it?
Well, I mean, what do you do with the stairs?
I don't know.
I mean,
even if we replace every second stair, I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm just
You got
spitballing here.
you got me.
But you know what I mean? We got two gateways we definitely know for sure. The rest are maybe.
This is magic shit. I mean, Abigail found the way to the 6th floor using something or another. But evidently her solution doesn't work for anybody else.
Hmm.
Because other people have tried it.
So there's potential leaks or threats, but only one, which is Abigail, and we've got the 2 doors.
And anybody who knows about the night floors, I have a feeling, is
they'll keep trying, but they've been trying for a long time, and we've got a timeline. So just let's just
for
what
us
we can now, and then
for us, I want to go back to the 4th floor, because at least we know how to get back from there.
Yeah. I will. I'll grab Thomas and hang out with him in the basement and see what I can do to help him paint this thing. Perhaps it's works of art that draw people in or get them increased access. Look at what Abigail did to her rooms. That's an installation piece.
Yeah, it's inspiration and creativity is the doorway or is the gateway, the fuel to the other place.
Those shelves of books extended into what felt like infinity, right?
Right.
Those are creative works.
Abigail would have had to have learned, unless she just happened to randomly put the pieces together, she had to have learned from somewhere how to get to the 6th floor. And the only thing everybody in that hotel thinks that, or in the McAllister, believes that that show has some sort of messaging. Maybe that's where Abigail learned.
But it's interesting you said there, everybody in the hotel thinks. I think the thinking is part of the thing. If they're inspired by thinking about that show and they're creating things from that show, be it art, poetry, whatever, that's part of how they get there.
Yeah, but it's pretty hit or miss, obviously.
I also recall that when we were in the hotel, every time we were trying to get somewhere, we couldn't. And when we stopped, we did.
That's zen as fuck.
It is zen.
Yeah.
Look.
All right. Well.
So, worst case scenario here, and Tara, don't worry. I'm not going to suggest blowing up the building or burning it down or anything like that. I'm going to suggest something that may be worse. Can we come up with some bullshit chemical story about a chemical leak or something like that affected their cognition and have them committed? If they're raving about night floors at night in a psych ward, they're not going to pass psychiatric muster.
Yeah, well, that's for DG to do based on our report if they want to take.
But then again, maybe it's for their own good if they're out of that friggin' building.
Yeah, but we don't do it. Okay, none of us have the capability of doing that anyway. If DG decide, if we report that these people are the key to getting there, and DG decides to, to get them committed or whatever, then that's their call, I guess.
Well, to me, then we're back to we've got to deal with the building and all the gates if we're not dealing with the people then.
Well, we have to figure out what the critical bit is, right?
It's going to be dark soon. We should get back there.
Let's get back there. That's not the only copy of Night Force. And if we can't figure out a way that DG can use to block off the other buildings, then this is just going to happen again.
Maybe, but if we can give them something in that 48 hours, then we can go, look, job done, here's your information, whatever we choose to give them or not. And then we decide ourselves whether we're going to keep looking into it or not.
All right. So it's after dark. You've arrived back at the McAllister. It sounds like Tara intends to head up the stairs to the pool hall. Are all four of you going to go? All of you going to go, or does anyone have other intentions?
Sarah was going
Sarah
down
was
to
going to
the
go to the
painter.
basement. That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to help. Who was it? Thomas with
Yeah.
doing the painting. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think where I'd be most useful. I don't think I've seen the pool hall, so maybe I should go there because I wasn't able to do a lot down in the painter's room. So I'll go up to the pool hall.
Hey,
Okay.
Felix, you got a spare set of those glasses?
I'm probably nerdy enough to have a spare set.
You
Sure.
mind if I borrow one?
Yeah. I'm just
Might come in useful.
adjust
for the
these
painting.
things.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to attempt to tune into the night floors in Abigail's apartment to see if I can glean anything else. Not only from that, but from her apartment as well.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, if you find any encyclopedia salesman, let us know.
All right. So, just thinking about what order to do this in. Let's start with the pool hall. Tara and Felix, you head up the stairs and you again find the pool hall. As you remember it. Louise isn't there this time. Probably Rourke isn't either. There's just a few people around playing pool. I think Renee Caroon, who some of you met downstairs, is probably at the bar. She's not playing pool, but she's in there. The directions that you had was that I think the westernmost door leading off the pool hall is close to the night manager's apartment. Is that the way that you want to go? Or is there something else that you want to do first?
No, I think so. That one.
All right. So you head out through that door. You find yourself back in the sort of long branching hallways that you've seen before. And you recognize the door with the night manager plaque on it. What do you do?
Knock.
All right. So after a moment, the door opens, and it's not the man that you saw last time. It's a younger, sort of middle-aged man, neatly dressed. He says, "I'm sorry, if you're here to see my father, he's unavailable. He's been unwell."
No, I'm sorry to hear it. Is there anything we can do?
Oh no, that's very kind. Is there anything I can do for you?
We were hoping that your father had some information for us regarding this invitation. But if he's not feeling well, then I guess I don't want to bother him. What's your name?
My name is John Castaigne.
How do you do, Mr. Castaigne?
Well, thank you. Your names?
Give whatever your covered names are.
Sure. You said you want information. Is there anything that I could help you with?
I don't know. Did your unless perhaps your father left something for us, or there's something here that could help?
Why don't you make a luck roll to see if
Sure.
the elder Castaigne left anything? So call high or low.
All right. We'll go high. Yes.
Oh, a critical success on the luck roll. All right, so we'll come back in a bit and find out what you get for your critical success. Well, actually, we're near the top of the hour, so maybe this is a good place for a 10-minute break.
Sure.
All right, cool. Thank you.
I'm reading A Softer World, which is a old web comic.
Oh God, it was so good.
It was so good. And I remember reading it all over again. And
That got printed, didn't it?
probably, yeah. It's I'm reading one that says, I used to hope for the apocalypse. Now there is no hope at all.
Well, that seems like a perfect note for us to pop back to the McAllister.
Yeah. Just
So, Elena, you've like toted along a television, or you're trying to use one of the televisions that's like fixed to the wall in Abby's apartment. How are you going to tune in the show?
Yeah, so I think I will attempt to. I think I'll attempt to use something that's in the apartment already. I can find a television that works.
Yeah, I think you'll have to kind of like pry it out of the resin that it's set in and like plug it in, but that's doable.
All right.
And why don't you make a luck roll to see what exactly you tune in on the television?
All right.
So call high or low, and you're trying to roll either above or below 50 based on that.
I am going to call low, and here we go.
All right.
17.
So after a little bit of surfing through television static, you tune something in. It seems to be around the same frequency that the Night Floors was broadcasting on, but it's not the Night Floors. You manage to time it so you actually catch the opening credits of it looks to be some sort of short film or something like that called A Song Before Travel. And it's obviously pretty cheaply made, but it's also quite grainy as it comes through on this like semi-untuned TV station. But it tells a story about a masquerade ball in some sort of royal court, and the plot is about a sort of power struggle between different figures who want to take control of the court after the disappearance of the king, who used to rule there. There's a pair of sisters named Camilla and Casilda, and a man who calls himself the Phantom of Truth. And that's really how the movie plays out. It's not particularly resolved. It builds towards what seems like it's going to be a climax where one or the other of these sort of factions takes control, and then the film abruptly ends. Make a resilience check for me.
All right. Where's my resilience? It's currently 71.
All right. So there's something disturbing about the movie, but you hold it together. I think maybe like you notice that it seems like a disproportionate amount of time has passed. Like the movie was only short, maybe 20 minutes or so, it seemed like, but a couple of hours have passed, it seems, while you're watching it or tuning it in.
And if I remember correctly, we found an invitation to a masquerade in the hotel.
You did?
Yes, I haven't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you said you were also going to like look around Abby's apartment while you're there. Is that right? Or is there something else you want to do?
Yeah, no, I wanted to continue to look around to actually see if there were any clues to now that we know a little bit about where she went according to the other residents. Any clues I can find that may have been the way she got there or how she learned to get there.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to you. But let's pick up with Sarah down in the basement. So Sarah, as you head down, that you see that Thomas is again sort of stood before the canvas that he's been working on. But you also actually make me an alertness roll.
Just realized I hadn't unmuted myself. That is an alertness roll of 35 over 25. I thought my alertness was a little bit higher. I thought I made it.
So you don't notice anything as you head into the basement except that Thomas is in front of the canvas again. He hears you coming down the stairs. He sort of looks around. He says, "Oh, Sarah."
Thomas, how goes the work?
I feel like I'm getting closer.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I tried to tell him that he's not supposed to be down here. It sort of gestures to the corner of the room, and you see that there is someone standing in the shadows. You can't really make out who it is.
Who is he?
I think that he'll step out of the shadows as you say that. And you see an unkempt man wearing like old fatigues, and he has a large snake sort of wrapped around his shoulders. And as he steps out of the shadows, you hear like this loud blasting cacophony. There's some sort of traffic accident or something outside, and people are like laying into their horns.
Is that your name? That noise?
Is it your name?
No, my name's Sarah.
My name's Sarah too.
I lean in a little bit and say, "Be real. Your name is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, isn't it?"
You know my name.
Are you Darabondi?
He shakes his head. Do you want to make a human roll?
Sure. I'd love to make a human roll,
And
especially
just
because I think I'm
reminding
okay with
everyone
that.
to mark the skills that you fail at to roll to improve at the end. So that's alertness for you.
Alrighty. Let's see if I do better with my human. Nope. That's an 84.
All right.
On the bright side, I'm going to be leveling up skills today.
So yeah, there's definitely something off about this guy's reactions. I mean, that's probably obvious just from the things that he's saying, but you can't quite get a handle on it.
And I look back at Thomas and say, why isn't he supposed to be here?
Thomas sort of shrugs and is just like, well, this is private property. This guy doesn't live here.
Is he doing any harm by being here?
I think like Thomas obviously is just a little bit intimidated by having a strange guy with a giant snake hanging out in the basement when he never normally sees anyone. But he doesn't, you can tell he doesn't really want to say that out loud. He says,
I'm going to try a persuade roll
not.
if I can.
Sorry, say again?
I'd like to try a persuade roll if I can.
Who are you trying to persuade?
Thomas.
What are you trying to persuade him of?
That this is totally fine. It might, in fact, even help him with his art. Something unusual, out of the ordinary. Something that he might be able to look past the canvas and see that shouldn't normally be there.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and make a persuade roll.
That's 13 under 70.
Okay. The man with the snake says to you, I came here because I thought someone was going to ask me a question. Is there something you wanted to ask me?
I ponder. Can I? Oh, well, no, that would have been a question, so I'm not going to ask that.
Thomas opens his mouth to say something.
And I shush him immediately.
We could ask him about how to get to the 6th floor.
Well, I was thinking about that, but I also want to know why my dad is such a dick.
I think you want to talk to your mom about that.
No, I hate her more. Look, if we can only ask one question, it needs to be a good one, right? Like, none of this meaning of life, the universe, and everything shit. Douglas Adams already showed how that question goes wrong. But
I think the man with the snake will say, I don't know anything about the meaning of life.
Well, that's good. None of us do. But what the hell? How do we get to the 6th floor?
He thinks about it for a second. He looks at Thomas and he says, "I'm sorry. You will not reach the 6th floor." Thomas looks just totally disconsolate at this. In fact, he breaks down. He starts to sob.
I will actually reach out and kind of pull him in and hug him and pat him on the back.
And the man will turn to you, Sarah, and say, "It's hard to answer these questions from the position that you're standing in linear time. But you're on the 6th floor now. The 4 of you are. You're at the masquerade. You're speaking to Abigail. It's all happening right now."
You know that Felix is the physicist, right? He understands the whole time is a flat circle thing. And I realize time is a stubbornly persistent illusion, all that stuff. But could you maybe help me out a little bit more? Because I'm a painter. I actually came down here to help Thomas here paint. And the 6th floor stuff is, I kind of understand what you're saying, here, and I point to my head. And I say, but my body and the rest of me obviously isn't getting it, because the illusion that I'm in a basement stubbornly persists, much like the illusion of time.
I'm not sure what else you think I could say.
Could you lead me up there?
You're already there.
Could you help me adjust my perception so that I can see that we're already there? Because, as I said, basement, stubborn illusion. It's persisting.
That's not something that I can help you with. I should go now. And he starts to leave.
I'm going to comfort Thomas some more and say, Thomas, I'll be back. And I follow the man with the snake, because that's always a good idea.
Well, we'll come back to you, but let's go back up to the night manager's office. So Tara, this man John, he says there is something that he left that he said he wanted me to pass on if anyone asked. And he hands you the locked box that you noticed the last time that you were here. Is this what you were looking for? You're muted.
I say, yes, I believe so. And thank you. And I hope your father recovers soon.
Thank you. My father has been sick for some time. If there's anything that he told you, he gets confused. I hope it didn't cause you any trouble.
No, it didn't. But and thank you for your solicitude.
Hey, John, I was wondering, we really like it here. Is there a pass or a token or a catchphrase or something we could use to make it easier to get back here? We'd like to visit again.
You'll visit again, if that's what you want.
Okay.
All right.
He closes the door.
Let's see if we can find the way back, shall we?
So you're still close enough to the pool hall door that if you want to, you can just walk through it.
Good. I do. I want to open this box up, but not here.
So you get back into the pool hall, and Michael Van Fitz is in there now. You see that he's talking to Renee Caroon, but when he sees that the two of you have come in, he sort of rushes over towards you.
Now, he was the guy with the extendable library thing. Yep.
Yeah, who gave us a lot of information about the night floor.
Michael?
You're some sort of agents, right? I saw a man in there very distressed.
In where?
I think he needs help. He points like back through some of the doors that lead off the pool hall.
What was happening? What's going on?
He was strapped to some sort of table. He looked very upset.
I think he's full of shit. Can I roll like a human thing?
You can both make a human check.
All right.
Because he was an asshole to us last time, so I don't trust him. I failed, so seems legit.
Neither of us are. But look at that, an 8.
I mean, I guess at this point, you don't know whether you should believe in the fullest sense anything that anyone tells you, but he is telling you what he believes to be the truth.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. I think he's on the level. I'd say to Felix.
Well, it would make the most sense for you to go first.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I put the box in my bag, and away we go.
Okay. Do you want Michael to direct you or to lead you?
Yeah, take us there.
Okay. So he opens the door, and you see, again, a hallway in front of you, and fairly distant down the hall, you see what he described. It looks like a medical table of some kind, and there is obviously a person strapped down to it.
Is there someone else nearby, like hurting them or something, or they just?
No, there's no one else around that you can see.
Run over to the person. Yep. First thing, gonna check. It's not like one of us or something stupid like that, is it? It's.
I think we'll figure that out if it is.
As you get close, you can see that it's not any of you. It's a man in his 30s. He is restrained. He's strapped to the table. He's sort of mumbling to himself, but he doesn't seem to be able to see you. Maybe he reacts to the sounds of you drawing closer.
Clap in front of his face and, hey, you with us?
Who's there?
Sir? I'll do a mental status exam on him. Sir, do you know where you are?
Interesting question.
Yeah, it's a standard question, and Tara only realizes belatedly that it's actually that doesn't have a straightforward answer.
Why don't you make a human roll again? Because that seems like really what
I don't think. I mean, she's just doing the standard thing that you do with people that you find who are, you're trying to figure out if they're stuporous or have been affected by smoke or chemicals.
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to get results from that regardless. But
so no, I didn't. I don't have any special insight.
So, I mean, he answers your question. What does he do? He just starts yelling at you. You've got to get out of here before it's too late. Get out. Get out. And some sort of noise, mechanical noise, like maybe clockworks or gears start up below the floor that you're standing on.
I'd say, sir, just quickly, do
I'm going to cut him loose.
I'm going to say, do any of these words sound familiar? And I'm going to say the 6 words that came out of the radio. Where the hell did I write them down? India, Sia, Dallin,
Wait,
Moon.
So you say India, Moon.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. That is such an interesting thing for you to say. Bear with me for a sec.
I'm trying not to think. Rustling and
Actually,
see if
so
I
when
succeed.
you say that to him, he's going to yell back, "Oh, I'm a Delta Green agent. My name is Michael Witwer. My code name is Vega. You've got to get out of here. Get out of here now."
I cut him loose.
So as you cut the first like restraint, and he like sort of starts to move that hand, but before you can cut any others, the ground beneath him starts to open up, and some sort of mechanical clockwork system starts to draw him down under the ground.
Does it look like that thing I saw the picture of? The handout you uploaded before?
So it's definitely not the same machine,
Okay,
but it's
cool.
the same sort of style, the same sort of
Right.
construction.
Michael Whitworth. And any chance of getting him loose before that thing grabs him?
I think that you could make like an athletics check, but it's going to be risky. Like if you fail, there's a risk that you're falling down after him.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
All right, make an athletics check.
Dodge, would that be?
I think is there not a skill called athletics?
There is a skill called athletics, and I made it.
You succeed.
I
Okay,
did.
you're able to cut him free.
It's my best skill.
Nice, and sort of pull him free of the table as it descends into the ground, and the floor closes up around whatever the machine is.
I'll just keep an eye out while she's paying attention to him, because I'm expecting further interruption.
You can definitely feel it. You hear like some sort of other machinery coming from a room nearby, but nothing in particular that comes to like disrupt anything.
Okay. Should we get him the hell out of here?
Yes. Can you see us now?
Something's wrong with my vision.
Okay. Well, just hold on to me. I'll I'll treat him like a smoke blinded rescue victim. It happens.
All right. So we'll come back to the two of you in a bit. So Yelena, you were looking for something that would, tell you how Abigail, or I guess what happened to Abigail, or what Abigail did, something like that.
Yeah, so the idea is that she had to have discovered something that told her how she could get to the sixth floor, so to speak, or showed her what she needed to do, and I'm trying to find whatever that was.
Yeah, go ahead and make a search roll, I think.
Yeah, okay. Search. 53 under 60.
Is that a success? That is a success.
Yeah.
So you tell me what your approach is like to this. How are you looking for this sort of thing?
So I'm trying to think of like if it has something to do with the way she's arranged this apartment, right? Because when I looked in here last time, like I was looking for like things that were in prominent places that were kind of symbolized what something was important. And so now, and we found the night floors tape. So now I'm trying to thinking of like what would be the best, like what would seem like the most convenient place to have set up like if she had plans or sketched out any plans or whatnot, or how this installation would look like, or what we count that central place that would make it the most convenient area to like have placed things that informed her how to set everything up.
Mm-hmm. So I think that you don't like there's definitely no pattern to this. So you exhaustively decide that there's just nothing of that nature here. But as you come to that decision, not a pattern per se, but something, intuition maybe draws your eye in a particular direction. And as you try and think about what it was that let Abigail do whatever it was that she did, your eyes settle on not old fashioned, like a Polaroid photo that's been stuck to the wall in one position. Shows a middle aged couple. There's enough of a resemblance that you think it must be members of Abigail's family. And their eyes have been scratched out. And an arm is reaching around the woman's shoulder. And the arm is clearly clad in a sort of velvety tuxedo.
Okay, I'm gonna take the photograph.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think that all that searching probably takes up like a good chunk of the night. So we'll come back to you, Sarah. You follow the man with the snake out of the basement.
Yes.
And then what?
I want to see where he goes.
I mean, he'll just start walking off down the street. Are you going to follow him?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, after you get like a block or so, he just turns back to you and says, "Is there a reason that you're following me?"
I mean, buddy, you have a snake. I mean, you want to talk about the stubbornly persistent delusion of time is linear? Snakes are part of a, how do you pronounce it? Ouroboros? Something like that. They eat their own tail.
You're showing more insight now than you did downstairs.
Well, do you honestly think that I wanted to make Thomas feel any worse than he already did when you said you're never making it to the 6th floor?
Well,
like you already said, I was there.
Should I have lied to him?
Like, sometimes it's okay to lie to somebody to spare their feelings. Like, sure, he's not going to make it to the 6th floor, but like, you don't have to tell him that, or at least not in that way. Maybe you say something like, "It's okay, little buddy, keep looking. You're trying, you're doing your best. I'm sure you'll find it someday." And maybe on a long enough timeline, that's true. Although, again, time, linear, all that nonsense.
It's getting late. I'm going to go get some rest. If you need me again, you know how to find me.
Dude, I don't even know your name. Or at least this version of me doesn't. Maybe the version that's on the 6th floor right now does, but just tell me your name, please.
He'll squat down on the ground and he'll start to like trace his finger through the dirt and dust. So he doesn't tell you what his name is, but he draws the sigil of person that you found in Abigail's apartment.
Okay. Now it's coming together. Thank you.
And he'll stand up and leave.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the basement now. See if I can help Thomas do some painting so he at least feels a little bit better.
I think Thomas has probably given up for tonight. He's maybe packing his things away as you get back, but you get to maybe comfort him a little.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just pat him on the back and give him a hug and listen to him.
So Tara and Blake, you take Michael Whitwer back towards the pool hall door. Tara, it sounds like you're leading the way, so why don't you make a resilience check to see how your navigation goes. Well, that looks very good. You're muted, Brandon.
Unfortunately, I made it. So
yes, that's right. So I think what that means in this case is that you make it back to the door to the pool hall But just as you're about to open it, Michael Whitwer gasps and says, "Oh no, it's happening again," and just vanishes.
Shit.
And you don't mean he's gone invisible, you mean he's physically not there anymore.
Yeah, he's physically not there anymore.
Yeah,
Shit.
he's caught in some kind of loop. Or something. God damn it. God damn it.
Okay.
Just finally when we found something that we thought would be a good source of intel. Then okay. All right. Well, we still have the box, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Still in your bag or under your arm or wherever you're carrying it.
Yeah, it's in the bag. I got my arm wrapped around it to make sure it doesn't vanish too easily.
I think that Michael will kind of be like fairly positive about what's happened. Like, oh, well, I mean, you helped that guy. You got him out of whatever was happening to him.
Yeah, but then he vanished.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks. Thanks. Rescuing, that was an important thing to do, and I appreciate it.
Thanks.
So there's multiple pool tables up here, aren't there?
Yeah, if you step back into the pool hall, there's many, many, many pool tables.
Oh, I'm going to take a couple of the balls because I'm just wondering if we can take stuff out of this area or not.
If you take out a couple of balls, somebody won't be able to play pool.
That's why I said there's multiple tables. They'll still be out of play.
I guess so. It seems so. But it already took a couple of balls. Then they would see what kind of place they have. I just want to find a normal existent room where I can open this box.
All right. Should we have the characters meet up again? It seems like you've all sort of done what you were working on. So maybe the four of you. I mean, is Abigail's apartment sufficiently normal a room for you to do this?
It'll do.
It'll do until a normal room comes along. All right. All right. So is everyone okay with that if we do have you reassemble at this point?
Sure.
Okay by me.
All right. So you sort of briefly tell each other about what's happened. Tara, the box has a padlock on it with a key in the lock.
Oh. I'll open it up then once everybody sat down and see what's inside.
So inside are two books. One is like an actual book, and one is more like a manuscript made up of pages that have been sort of haphazardly bound with a bulldog clip. Very, very battered. Sort of old looking. And as you sort of flip through them, you see that there's a combination of typed material, handwritten notes, arrows, annotations of all kinds, weird symbols, stuff like that. The manuscript is headed The Imperial Dynasty of America, and it starts... Sorry, where did it go? It starts with the words, "When from Carcosa, the Hyades, Hasta, and Aldebaran," and then it sort of proceeds just through this endless series of names, like thousands and thousands of names across dozens or hundreds of pages. The other book is a small, old leather-bound copy of a play called The King in Yellow.
Can I roll a cult, see if I've heard of any of this stuff, or
Sure.
any of these names? Got 32. Let's have a look.
Um,
Failed. God.
Yelena, the word Carcosa is familiar to you, not from any of the projects that you worked on exactly in the USSR trying to contact alien civilizations, but occasionally you sort of heard rumors or whispers about a project called Project Carcosa, that had sort of inaugurated all of this research into other worlds. Something secret, something that no one would talk about. Maybe you got the impression that something terrible had happened. And that's what birthed all of the Russian interest in contacting other places.
As soon as I see that word or hear it, I'll just be like, fuck.
Seems like you know something about that word. And I look pointedly at Yelena.
I'll say, I don't really know any details, but there was a project that, okay. My job back with the KGB.
Oh, you
was
weren't
to-
a counselor?
No, I'm an anthropologist. My job with the KGB was to research civilizations in various other realities, universes, dimensions, whatever you want to call these different places. And it was all launched due to a project with this name on it. I don't know anything about the original project other than it kind of ended badly.
Can you
But
get any
everybody-
information about that project?
I have been trying to cut ties with the KGB and the Soviets for as long as I've been here. And you want me to reach out to them?
I've been trying to cut ties with my parents, and I called my dad.
You understand what you're asking of me.
It's less painful than calling my parents.
Be like, tell that to this scar.
This book mean anything to you, Sarah? I hand you the King in Yellow.
So
I'd like
just
to
as a
roll a
reminder,
cult.
you do know that Darabondi in his diary mentioned that when he tried to get rid of the book that was disturbing him so much, a copy of The King in Yellow was delivered to him the next day, which he found very upsetting. But yeah, anyone who wants to can make an occult roll to see if they recognize the name.
That is 37 under 70.
You don't think that this is an occult work of any note.
However, this one with all the names in it, I don't recognize the names, but the format reminds me of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. At the start, they sort of say, here are all the gods, here are what they represent. We're about to, talk about some rituals, so maybe it's a similar concept. I don't know.
Well, just to be clear, unless you take the time to study it, you're not going to know if you recognize any of the names in there. It's very possible there's names you know.
So I attempted to roll occult, and I failed. I rolled a 70, but my occult is 60.
So, I mean, Sarah rolled a success at the occult, and all that she knows is that's it's not a familiar work of occult literature or anything like that.
Oh, I was just wondering if one of these failed to get more information.
Yeah, no, you haven't heard of it either, apart from the
Thumbs up.
reference in Darabondi's diary.
There's a lot of king references that we've encountered, haven't we?
Well, I mean, Kings had masquerade balls. Is that some sort of link there?
Well, the king at the masquerade ball.
But isn't the king missing at the masquerade?
Yeah, and that other thing, who was talking about the Casilda and
yes, one. I caught a film when I was in Abigail's apartment tonight that was not the Night Floors, but felt the same way. That the plot of which was a masquerade ball with a king missing and some factions vying for power. It was an unpleasant experience.
I wish that Matthew Weinhardt, if I get the name right, Whitmore had stayed with us. It was so frustrating.
Who's this?
A guy we found near the pool hall. He was strapped to some medical table and we rescued him.
He
And then when
claimed
I
to be-
said there was 6 words from that radio over there, he said, "Oh yeah, I'm a Delta Green agent."
He no, just as we were getting him back to the pool hall, he vanished.
We don't mean disappeared. We mean he was physically
He vanished.
not there
He
anymore.
vanished, and I mean not all at once, but very rapidly. And he said, "Oh no, it's happening again." I don't know. He's stuck in some sort of loop. I was hoping he'd be able to give us more information, but no such luck.
Well, it sounds like y'all had a slightly better evening than I did. I apparently followed a demon down the street who told me that we were all on the 6th floor already.
The demon?
Yeah, Person. Drew his sigil in the dust on the sidewalk.
Oh,
Also, he made Thomas cry. We talked about that a little bit and why it was bad to do such things. Thomas isn't going to make it to the 6th floor, by the way. At least if you take the word of a demon.
I don't even know what
Else?
demons are in this whole scheme of things.
You know, if I said this stuff to anybody else, they'd have me committed.
Only
You ever have an-
if you seem to be a danger to yourself or others.
I also found this picture in Abigail's. I get all of this together. I think these might be her parents or maybe some other relatives, but the eyes scratched out and a man or an arm in a velvet suit. I have a feeling
Another fucking velvet suit?
I'm still
another-
wearing mine. So, like this one, the guy we saw in the park earlier, that's great. He was in Thomas's picture. So,
another demon. Same demon.
a couple of thoughts. You ever had an ant farm? You know, and people stand around the ant farm looking at the ants. Maybe that's where demons fit in. They're looking at the night floors or even us, and we are the ant farm. Also, the whole thing about we're already on the 6th floor, maybe that's it. We're looking for something where we already are. What we need is a perception shift, not a location shift.
Which is what I mentioned. The demon wouldn't help. I mean,
We're already in, like, maybe the Chicago and the Boston place, that's all the same building, and we just need to change how we're looking at it.
Sorry, can I just say, Sarah, we established that you're at least a little familiar with the Lesser Key of Solomon.
yeah.
The one thing that you're going to know about it is that the demons described in that book all have very specific roles or powers or things that they can do if summoned. So, you know, it's plausible to you that if Person couldn't do what you asked, that there's another demon in there that could.
I forget, did I actually grab a copy of the Lesser
You
Key of
did.
Solomon? Okay.
Yes.
So,
Oh, that reminds me, just apropos of nothing. At some point, if we have the opportunity, you library people should look up Ian Frederick de Craig and see if he's a real person.
So as I think about like time being a flat circle and all this other nonsense, and maybe we have to adjust our perception. So like, that gets into like quantum mechanics, right? And I'm just going to say, you know what? Fuck this nonsense. Science isn't making sense. Reality isn't making sense. I followed a demon tonight. I'm just going to see if I can figure out if I can find another one in here to like actually help us get to what the fuck we need.
So there's the list of demons if you want to try and find one that you think could help you.
Oh, great.
And I
This
also
is pretty terra incognita, Sarah.
before we resort to summoning demons
Demonology?
or whatever these beings are, I mean, demons are just another word for gods, which are just another word for scaring people into doing what you want.
Well, that sounds kind of Marxist.
I'll just shrug, be like, the masses and whatnot.
I mean, you
Well,
might
it's
say
bullshit,
that
that's
demons
stupid.
are entities that exist outside our understanding of reality. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're magic. Maybe they're just using really advanced science. I mean, any reasonably advanced science is going to be indistinguishable from magic, right?
All I'm saying is that all of this talk about changing our perceptions and needing to see things differently, maybe we just need to stop seeing, period. I'll sort of hold up the picture with the scratched out eyes. And I am not suggesting we all gouge our eyes out. But perhaps the fact that we are relying too much on our visual perception is the problem.
Fair enough. I also noticed that we have a map.
And before we start dealing with entities whose motives and capabilities are beyond our understanding, maybe we should figure out a way for ourselves first.
Fair.
In the meantime, you just hear me muttering names of demons under my breath.
Like, I don't know, maybe just close our eyes and walk up the stairs and open them once we hit a barrier. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here now.
Sure.
I mean, Felix, Tara, didn't you say that the guy was screaming that he couldn't see?
He couldn't see us. At least. So yeah.
Well, what do we have to lose but our sanity? And
Presuming that we still have it.
like maybe becoming permanently lost in a world that isn't ours. I mean, on the bright side of things, if we get permanently lost in a world that isn't ours, Masha can't yell at us anymore.
There's that.
I don't like any of this. I really don't like any of this. Like, when consulting with demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon seems like a good option,
To you.
we're having a bad day.
Yeah, let's see what we can find out without saying that even all the metaphors don't work.
So the plan is that you're going to walk up the stairs with your eyes closed and just see what happens.
Is it any less reasonable than summoning a demon?
I'm not I'm not saying it's reasonable or unreasonable. I'm just clarifying the intent.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and picture Abigail in my mind when I go up. What the hell?
The secret hasn't been released yet. Like, manifesting isn't a thing.
All right.
Manifesting has always been a thing.
And are you moving like with hands on each other's shoulders or something like that to stay together?
I think that would be wise.
Conga.
I think so.
Or hold on to a shoulder or a belt.
Okay, who's in front?
I'll go first.
All right. So, and you're heading up the stairs that lead to the pool hall, not through Michael's apartment.
Yes.
All right. So about a quarter of the way up the staircase, you start to hear like machine noises coming from the other side of the door that leads to the pool hall or the roof. And as you proceed up the stairs, the noise gets louder, like extremely loud, painfully loud by the time you reach the door. Are you still planning on opening the door, or does this change your plan?
Anybody?
I think it's an illusion.
I hope so.
It's either this or the demons.
All right. Well, I'm putting my fingers in my ears and
Paimon is an option. I'm just saying.
I mean, you're yelling at this point over the noise, but yes, payment is an option.
all tongue tight.
And I think this is a good spot for a 5-minute break. Is 5 minutes good for everyone?
Yep.
I feel a bit like we wanted to make a cake. We opened the pantry and about 100 ingredients fell onto the floor.
Oh, so we don't have a recipe book.
Yeah, that too.
And
But we
also
have
the
no idea.
fire.
No, we only have a vague idea as to what a cake is.
We heard about it
We've
once.
seen a cake, but no one's ever explained how you actually make one.
But there's quite
And also, all of the ingredients are things we've never heard of before.
So you open the door into the pool hall, and this tremendous machinic noise continues all around you. Tara, in a second, I'm going to get you to make a resilience check to see how you navigate here. What are you looking for?
More stairs? Or an elevator?
Mm-hmm. All right. Go ahead and make a resilience check.
Yes.
All right. So you continue for a way. The machinic noise sort of fades away after a while. As you proceed, you sometimes feel like figures are passing close by you. But eventually, you hear a woman's voice call out to you. She says, "Tara, thank God you're here. None of you open your eyes. Just a little bit further." And you can all make a human roll if you want, or you can tell me what you do.
Yeah, failed. I'm just trying really hard not to open my eyes because I'm a visual guy.
Don't forget to mark the roll if you failed. Oh, a critical failure for Sarah.
Yep. So my
Nice.
human. I already marked human. So.
Tara, did you want to make a human roll?
I failed. Regular old failure. I think.
All right.
It doesn't show it.
Okay. So no particular impressions of the voice.
I'll just follow it then.
So she keeps calling out to you and saying, just a little further, just a little further. It's right in front of you. And then you step out into empty air. I think at that point you probably unavoidably open your eyes and you realize that you've stepped into an elevator shaft, an open one, and you plummet down. Who was right behind Tara?
Probably me.
So I think you probably need to make an athletics roll to pull up short as you feel Tara fall.
The flaw in that plan, I have no athletics. I do have 60 in unarmed combat, though.
Well, if
And-
you need to fight anything, that will be helpful.
Well, I mean, I did mention judo before. It does involve grabs, so
I'm quite
Yeah,
surprised that athletics doesn't have a default value. So I reckon if you don't have that, then make a roll under 5 by your dexterity score.
I guess so.
That's a pretty good number.
18, so under half.
So you should have a by 5 value for all your stats. So you're trying to
Yep.
roll under 60.
Yep. So I rolled 18.
Oh, cool. All right, so you're just barely able to stop as your foot sort of hovers over the elevator shaft. Tara has fallen.
Yeah.
Whoever's right behind you bumps into you, but you're able to stop before they tumble down. And the voice that was leading you this way just starts to laugh. You can't really see where it's coming from, maybe from somewhere down in the darkness below. Tara, we'll see what happens to you in just a minute, but the rest of you, what do you do?
Yell out, Tara!
Probably open my eyes at this point then.
Yeah. Fair.
I'll see the shaft and I will immediately lay down on the floor and start and crawl toward the elevator doors, or the shaft, and see how far down it goes.
It goes down as far as you can see.
Oh shit, so just darkness.
I mean, you can see the shaft extend for quite a distance, but it goes further than you can see from here.
On the inside of a lot of elevator shafts, it'll say there'll be a number saying what floor it is. Do we see that plate on the inside of the elevator shaft?
No, you don't.
Annoying.
How about anything around the elevator shaft, where the call button is, or if there's strip of number of floors at the top, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it makes sense that there's a bank of numbers at the top, but none of them are illuminated to indicate that the elevator's on a particular floor.
Are there any
many-
doors? Go ahead.
Does it feel cool like an elevator shaft, temperature-wise, or does it just feel room temperature?
Room temperature. Sorry, Yelena, I think you were going to ask how many floors it indicated.
Yeah.
Is that
How
right?
many floors are there?
So the numbers at the top of the elevator shaft show not a complete range of floors, not 1 to 20 or something like that. It shows them extending from 598 to 616.
Okay. And all of the floors in between are have an indicator?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll come back to the three of you in just a sec. But Tara, as you plummet down the elevator shaft, I think you probably need to make a resilience check. So you're muted.
That's a failure.
All right. So I think you're going to take 1d8 resilience loss. Do you want to roll it?
6.
Right. So when you lose 5 or more resilience from a single roll. You are overwhelmed. You're going to freeze up, lash out, flee, something like that. Of course, you're currently plummeting down an elevator shaft, so it's going to be hard for you to do any of those things.
I can freeze up pretty good.
You can freeze up pretty good. So you fall, like it seems like you're falling forever. At the bottom, you don't hit something though. You stop somehow. You're not sure what the feeling is. You're in a completely dark space. Assuming that you are frozen up, I guess you don't have a chance to react. But again, you hear the woman's voice. She says, "I brought you here to tell you it's not your time yet. Get out." And you realize that you're lying on the bed back at your hotel room.
I catch my breath. And I see whether I can call Felix.
I think we established that phones don't work on the night floors, so
I know, I figured much, but I still try.
yeah. So the call doesn't go through.
Right. Okay. I'm going to open the window and clear my head for a little bit. And when I can stand it, I'm going to go back.
Okay. So we'll catch up with you in a bit. The other three of you have just seen your friend like tumble down the elevator shaft. I think that probably calls for resilience checks for all of you as well.
43, so that's under.
So on a success, you're going to take 1 point of resilience loss. On a failure, you're going to take 4 points. Oh, sorry, D4.
Is there a elevator button, as in some of the elevator button on the outside?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna press that.
Okay. Nothing happens, but
No. I'm gonna say maybe she didn't fall. If we're already on the 6th floor, then where's she gonna fall to? She's already here.
Sarah, was 75 a success for you?
No, it wasn't. But I made a roll and it said 11, and then it vanished. But, So I was looking for where that was. I was checking the roll history to see if it popped up anywhere, and it didn't. So anyway,
Same with me. I had a roll that did that too.
I think
I'll clear the roll history and
I think Carcosa is getting onto our dice roller.
So anyway, my resilience is actually, my resilience is currently 75, and my roll was okay. This is really weird.
I just cleared the roll history to try and see if that was going to resolve the glitch.
Okay. So I rolled 75, I think, and that matches my current resilience.
So I'm pretty sure it's equal to or under, so that will count as a success. So you'll just take 1 point of resilience loss.
Just barely a success.
Just barely. Elena, you said you rolled a success as well?
Yeah, I had the same thing that Patrick had. So I rolled a 43, but then it disappeared. Okay. Even in the history.
Sure. So just give yourself 1 point of resilience loss for seeing your friend plummet down the elevator shaft. But as Felix has pointed out, perhaps not really hurt.
I mean, we can't assume that physics works the same way here, can we? I mean, Terra didn't float up, but
Oh, Tara got half killed by something falling on it before.
So what do you do?
can we rappel down these down the elevator cables, or there's no elevator cables?
I mean, there's definitely no elevator in the shaft. Why don't you make a luck roll to see if there's elevator cables?
All right, I will roll. I will call low.
There's
And
no
that is high.
cables.
What
There is
about
a call button, but it didn't work when Felix tried to use it.
Well, when there's no cables, that explains why the elevator's stuck someplace, and there's no cables for it to get here. What about handholds inside the elevator shaft?
I mean, if you want to try to climb down, that's going to be an athletics check at minus 40%. Like, it's going to be very difficult to climb down the elevator shaft.
Right, I have no athletics.
Same.
Felix, do you have athletics?
No. Those 6 words I heard on the radio, I'm going to say them loudly up the elevator shaft.
There's no effect.
Right. Cool.
So listen.
I'm just curious. Sorry. I just want to.
Quite all right.
I'm just curious. Like, where are we other than this elevator shaft? What is around us?
Yeah, you're again in this like winding hallway, like an old-fashioned hotel.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so I realized this idea didn't get much traction last time, but I could always call on payment. I mean, just saying, it's he can reveal all mysteries of the earth, wind, water, what
Well,
the mind is and where it is and everything.
save
the
that
conjurer
to-
wants to know.
Maybe if we're starving or something, we can go that far, but we're not there yet. It's only just happened.
Look, there's some carpet here. I can just draw the sigil into the carpet, and wham bam, Bob's your uncle. Whatever the conjurer wants to know, right? I got all sorts of things I want to know. Like, first and foremost, is Tara okay? Just saying, it's an option.
So
One of the ones-
frequently, the door to stairs is nearby the elevator.
Do you want to try and find your way to some stairs? You can make a resilience check for that.
I do.
Yeah, look around and try and...
I passed.
There don't seem to be any stairs nearby.
No, I did
Of
not.
course.
I failed quite a lot.
What are you looking for, Felix?
Probably a door that looks like all the other doors. I'm looking for one that doesn't stand out, and I'm just going to open doors without looking.
But what are you hoping to find through the door?
Stairs down. Sorry, change that. Stairs up.
You open a door and there's stairs leading up.
All right. Should we check on the roof?
I hate it here.
What's the worst that could possibly happen?
Felix, the last time you asked that question,
Well, you slapped me, but yeah, anyway.
You hear something large and loud coming down the stairs from above you.
Oops, that's not good.
Felix, would you please close that door?
Yeah, okay. Lena's not arguing, so close that one.
Just before you close the door, you get a glimpse of what seems to be the machine that you saw the diagram of earlier. And as it like sort of reaches the bottom of the stairs by the door, it starts to pound on the door, and the
Yeah.
door you've just closed starts to splinter. It doesn't look
I'm
like
gonna-
it's going to hold up for long.
I'm going to say stop in English and then German.
That is not going to do anything.
Damn it. Time to run somewhere?
Felix, use the 6 words.
Yeah, all right. I'll try those, you know.
You get to about the third word before this machine busts through the door and crashes out into the hallway, turns towards the three of you. It has sort of large, like snapping, edged blades attached to it, and it looks like it's about to do serious harm to one or all of you.
All right. I'll say run, because I do have judo, so I'll try and block its blades if it's going for them and say, go, go.
You're going to use your unarmed combat against the terrifying machine.
I think we're all running. It's just
Okay,
I'll be last to try and
All right.
stop it if it's too close.
All right. If you just want to flee, then you can just get away. You can get back to at least to the pool hall, and the thing will like chase after you as far as the pool hall, but then stop as you get out. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, let's.
I mean, yeah.
And make note of which door we come out of in the pool hall.
Mm-hmm.
Can we somehow lock or like bar that door in the pool hall to stop people going through?
What do you want to do? Like drag a pool table over against it?
Yeah, if there's no padlock or sort of anything, just maybe even a couple. Just
Drag some furniture over?
yeah.
Some of the people who are playing pool will look at you quite oddly as you do that, but you can do it.
I love how the people in this place could still look at people as if what they're doing is odd. It's like, you know who you are.
I'll yell across the hall. Does anybody want to help us like bar the door from that giant mechanical whirling death thing?
They just go back to playing pool.
I look at Felix and Yelena and say, look, under any other circumstances, I wouldn't say this, but why don't we just tell Masha the job's done and go home?
I think, like, just because time is different in the night floors, Tara has arrived back in the pool hall just about the time that you come through that door.
Yeah, that thought had occurred to me.
Also,
She doesn't look great.
Tara, didn't you fall down an elevator shaft?
To my death?
Well,
You died? You
obviously
can't.
not.
We
I
thought.
sort of poke her on the shoulder just to make sure it's real.
I fell, but I didn't hit.
Right. Where did you land? Come out
I
from?
ended up back in our motel.
I mean, that's pretty good room service, but
So you fell out of here.
It's really not funny.
You fell
No,
out of here and into our room?
That voice spoke to me again and said, "It isn't your time."
your time to go somewhere, or your time to die, or what? They didn't elaborate.
Your time for the 6th floor, I think.
Did you recognize that voice?
No,
Somebody you knew?
no.
So I had just
I expected to die, but then I felt for what felt like a long time, and so I didn't.
I'm really glad you didn't die.
Yeah.
First of all, and in light of you not dying in a situation where you, under any normal circumstances, you probably would have. I had just asked Felix and Yelena how they felt about just telling Masha the job's done and going home and just saying, fuck this.
Did you guys get anything out of that elevator shaft?
No, we got pursued by a giant death machine down the hallway.
Lots of knives and blades and stuff. It's behind that. It's behind these pool tables. If you want to get
Like
a
the
look.
one on the napkin?
Yes, a lot like that. It didn't respond to human speech. I tried not to find a way, and then I found a way upstairs, and it came down the stairs. So there's something out there against us, or trying to defend itself against us. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's someone, too. Obviously.
Well, I'm starting to agree with Sarah here. I mean, if everything exists all at once, then we have already solved this case and stopped it from
Yeah, no,
and
that's
closed this off. So
yeah, wouldn't that be easy? I
Tara,
don't buy it.
Tara,
What?
you thought you were dead, right?
Well, I thought I was going to die. I didn't think I was dead at any time.
But you were thinking death was really, really, really imminent, right? Like
Well,
matter
I
of
thought I
seconds
was
away?
falling down an elevator shaft, and if it was more than like 2 stories, it was probably going to kill me.
Okay.
But actually, that I had time to think about it meant that it wasn't normal.
Yeah. Agreed. But
Unless like time slows down when you're about to die, which I don't.
time gets
nobody has
weird with
died.
adrenaline.
Yeah, I do, and I've had adrenaline, but not while falling to death, not while plummeting.
Look, this is my point, though. I mean, I'm just personally, I don't want you to die. Not because we're pursuing some who the fuck knows what. Okay? I say we just, I mean,
No,
maybe Elena's looking at it
I do
a
not.
little philosophically.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to give up on this. I'm not going to let that thing chase me away. Yeah.
No. We don't have to, but we can tell to Green, look, that guy Michael's got an extendable library, block off that room, get him out of there, commit him, whatever. That's what the issue is. And that way they've got something they can close the case. How much we decide to keep looking into that or not is up to us. We'll do that ourselves.
I mean, all we have to do is like take care of roof access and Michael and Fitz's room, and we're good.
It feels like running away.
Just managing our resources. No one's talking about quitting. We need to get some results, give them that result, say deal with Michael's extendable library thing, and we'll decide how and when we can sort of keep going.
Investigate, we resume it on our own without some sort of bullshit time constraint.
DG doesn't like that.
Yeah, well, DG doesn't like a lot of things.
Yeah, but they can interfere if they think we've gone off. Huh? If they think we've gone off the rails, they will. That was clear.
You thought death was imminent, which is scarier? The idea of going back into those hallways, perhaps facing death again.
I'll go back in again, but I'm not listening to anybody tell me what to do this time.
We're not telling you what to do.
No, and I'm talking about you.
It's about the voice. That's
okay. I mean, who's to say that you can't just delay it a week or so?
What was that place that we were in?
The hotel again, maybe?
Yeah, but long halls.
But it was different, right? All that noise.
Machines.
All that machinery. And the machine that came downstairs.
That seemed like similar make, but not the same machine.
Like a maintenance place. Like like the maintenance tunnels for a building or something like that.
Could
Do
be.
you suggest we open our eyes sooner?
Yeah. Then we find the place again, but then we open our eyes and see what we can figure out. And fuck them.
Are you talking about voices in elevator shafts? Delta
Yes.
Green?
No, them. The people, the hotel people are trying to stop us from figuring out this thing. Fuck them. I don't want to do what they say. They want us to go home. They want us to pack our bags and leave.
Yeah, but we can take a week away or a month away, whatever. Have a think about it and look at us. I'm not saying give up. I'm just saying take a break. Let DG think.
Yeah, DG's not going to do that. DG's going to act, and it's not. They're not going to let us keep investigating. They're not.
So
Well,
They'll have
at
us.
that point,
they'll
it
have
becomes
us-
somebody else's
They'll round
problem.
us up. Well, yeah, it might become our problem when they try to put a bullet in the back of our head. What do you do with an investigator into secrets who have gone off the rails and decided that they're going to disobey orders? It was made pretty clear to us the nature of DJ when we signed up.
I don't exactly remember volunteering.
Yeah, well,
okay. So, Tara, you've always been against Sarah's suggestion of burning down the building, but how do you feel about blowing up the machinery?
it depends what it is, what it does. If you mean that the thing on the napkin and stuff, sure, I don't have a problem with that. It's trying to kill you.
I mean,
With many, many
ultimately,
knives.
But I don't have a bomb. I don't do you. I don't have a
Call my
weapon.
supplier.
I don't have a weapon that could do. Well, chemicals are not exactly a RPG, which is what it sounds like you needed against that thing.
I mean,
No, but we can make
dismantle or
explosives.
otherwise.
So unless you know somebody who deals in terrorist weapons, which I hope you don't.
I mean, I know somebody who can tell us how to mix things in the proper ratios.
Homemade bombs, Sarah.
Listen. Is it any crazier than falling down a shaft to thinking that you're going to die and then waking up in our hotel room and then coming back to meet us, coming out of the hall where we thought you?
Yeah. It is crazier because I have seen what homemade bombs do.
Well,
okay, which is blow up the people that make them.
Okay, well, we can do.
I mean,
there dismantle. We can
first time
monkey wrench.
I hear that the first time, casualty rate, the casualty rate on first time, bomb makers is pretty appallingly high, and if we're gonna die, let's die by malice and not stupidity.
Look, I've got 10 fingers. I figure I can lose a couple.
Let's go up and see what there is to see, huh?
Well,
we can do that without too much risk. We can get away if we have to.
Can we at least bring something to make a mess if the opportunity arises?
I think
you mean like a Molotov.
You can do what you want, but I'm not going to do it. 'Cause 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 I'm not going to do it. 'C
Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
I'm not
Elena,
gonna,
I'm with you.
I'm not going to
Let's-
start a fucking fire. I spent my life putting out fires. Thanks. And just
Well,
because
unless
Sometimes
something
to put a
scared the
fire out,
living,
you
just
know
because
that-
something scared the living shit out of me just now.
You know that sometimes you need to start a backfire to keep a fire from fucking.
I'm not,
That's what we're
and have
doing.
never been a smoke jumper, and it is not something you do in an urban area ever.
Well, luckily we don't know what this place is, so for all we know, it could be miles and miles of woods outside.
No, it's a building full of people. We know that.
Okay, and do you not understand that by blow it up, I don't necessarily mean blow it up, but we can bring stuff to shove into pieces and take apart things.
And
it doesn't have to be an explosive.
What do you think that'll do? You know, I
Who
mean,
knows? But we're
Hopefully
under
shake the thing to shit so we don't die.
Who knows? That's the
we're under
point.
a goddamn time limit. So let's do something.
I'm with you, Elena, on this.
I think
Let's go down.
I think this sort of shit's likelier to bring the ceiling down on our heads than it is to accomplish anything. Random destruction, isn't it?
Well, you didn't just flee from a machine throwing, like, basically flailing.
Well, as I said,
all
if
over.
you want something like that, then you need something as an actual weapon. You need that's not like not like a bomb. Christ, have you ever thrown a bomb at anything close range? Have you ever used a grenade? Because I haven't. So unless you have a lot of military experience, so you've been concealing from us, Yelena, the likelihood that if you have a bomb is that you're going to blow yourself kingdom come, set yourself on fire.
You say
or whatever.
Military experience that has been concealed, I start coughing.
I'd be like, I'll sort of side eye Sarah and be like, I was an anthropologist. Am an anthropologist.
You know, if you had an RPG and you said you knew how to use it, then I'd say, yeah, okay, fine.
All right. Well,
even if you had a hand grenade and you said you know how to use it, but a homemade fucking bomb.
Okay, well, this is America, right? I can go down to the corner store and buy a gun, right? Well, I'm going to do that.
Tara, you had an axe before. Have you still got that? Because
I still do, yeah, because I know how to use an axe.
Right, cool. That's good, because we may need to defend ourselves if one of that things comes again.
And I know how to use a gun, so...
So we've got an axe and a gun, so we're not completely undefended or unarmed. That's good.
So I just want to ask something to like sort of frame where we're going. So I understand that Yelena and Sarah want to get weaponry or equipment. It's nighttime now, so that would mean coming back tomorrow night. Is anyone planning to go back into the night floors themselves tonight?
I want to go back for a look on the fourth floor.
Do I understand right that Yelena and Sarah don't intend to go back until they've collected some equipment?
I am willing to look in the hallway, but I am not willing to go that far down it without feeling prepared.
All right. Sarah, what about you?
I'm going to hang out behind Yelena. I mean, Yelena appears to be showing a fairly high degree of common sense in this situation. And I like, if Yelena goes that far, I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to be quicker to the door.
All right. Felix, what about you?
I'll go with Tara if she wants. I don't want to go on her own.
All right. And Tara, are you going to use one of the doors that leads off the pool hall, or do you want to go back through Michael's apartment?
No, I want to go back up to the pool hall as closed. But then once if we find the room with the machinery, I want to stop and look and see what we're dealing with.
All right. So in that case, the four of you head back up the stairs towards the pool hall, and you open the door, and that's where we're going to finish up for this week. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can do stars and wishes.